All right, Coach. Yeah, I know, pretty bright. But just kind of talk about how you think team's been performing this past weekend.
We did pretty good. We had to be careful how we talk about stuff, but we're like banged up, and so, we are focusing on things in practice about how do you rest certain players, develop other ones, and still, try to get a W at now. And so we did just a better job this last week, and we worked on a little bit more of Jake just said something about his kids and their egos and whatnot. So we worked a little bit more on ego stuff this week, and I think it paid off. So against Permian, they're a good team. It's funny how people think, how people view teams. People sort of live in a time capsule, and so they look at a traditional team and like, oh, that's a big win or whatever. And they don't seem to think about the here and now. So Permian's doing like really good, and they have their middles are leading the conference, and so we basically decided to go with the idea of let them get theirs, and as long as nobody else does good, we should have a chance of winning. And so Western New Mexico, they're banged up too, but they're pretty big, and their system is chaos, and I mean that in a very respectful way. He just lets them go play, and they're great at it. And so we had to tell our kids to stay disciplined on our side. So I thought we did good, but listening to Jake for a second that's really what it was with us. Is like we just started getting our minds back, and so our egos back. So I just thought the girls did better. We just had a better week of training, made it a little bit more fun, and we took the girls out, and the girls did a lot of stuff on their own outside of volleyball, and so I think it paid off.
Coach, you guys lead the conference in digs per set. We've talked about it. How do you capitalize on that back row defensively throughout the rest of the season?
So what we tell the girls is like, when we're in the locker room, we're harping pretty hard on them, and basically the message is like, don't hang your head. Like, so we're saying a couple things. Like, we know you care, and we'll never fault you. We know you're busting your butts, but are you competing? Are you competing? Because we need to expand our game. So the core and how their heart and how they're playing and all that's not a question, because we have to expend so much more energy than the other teams, because we're struggling right now. We just don't have a horse to put the ball down. So that's not the issue. But what we're trying to get them to understand is like, okay, now can we compete? So we're showing them little things about balls that they left, like on the table, other digs that they could have had. We had almost 150 digs in 6 sets this weekend. That is astronomical, like 160 in 6 sets. And I felt like we could have had 15 more easily. And so we're just trying to get them to get hungry and compete. And so, I don't really know the true answer, but we're trying to tread that fine line of like, we know you're busting it, but that does not excuse the lack of seeing things, of learning how to win that point easier here and there. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of teams out there right now is, if they get the wrong kid hurt, or as the things go on, or the mojo's not there, those coaches don't know. And this goes with things where those coaches don't know if those kids have that kind of fighting spirit. So we have it, but we want to capitalize on that, which means we got to expand our game.
Last week you were talking about eye level. Do you think your team improved on that for practice and stuff?
Yeah, so we got this guy named Jose Contreras, and I worked with his grandkid with U Sports, and he's a really good photographer. So we got him to come to our games and take photos of the matches, and he's great. And so he understands action shots, right? So he sits there. And we also have something called Vid Swap. Every conference has it, where you upload the video and it cuts it up for us, okay? But Jose has a really good knack for understanding. He understands the game of when to take the photo. So I just spent 2 hours, and I sent the girls a big PDF file, and it was showing the eye work at right before, during, and after. And when we were letting Permian back in, was our eyes were looking at the wrong kind of stuff. And you sort of, when you're training and learning new stuff, you can stay focused. But can you stay focused after the first hour? You know what I mean? So we did better, but it's funny you ask that, because I just got done sending the PDF, and anytime we messed up, our eyes weren't seeing the right things. And then you can see on the photos, though, that all 6 players are seeing the same thing, but with their different job responsibilities. So it's showing they're listening. Again, they're good kids, they're coachable, but we just want them to, basically, most coaches got to get the kiddos to work harder. We're trying to get our kiddos to work smarter.
And then now you finally go on the road, probably gonna be the longest road trip of the season. We know last year, they'll drop all 4 of those games, and then you kind of had to battle your way back. So you already won your first 2 games. So what do you take from those first 2 games going back on the road now?
So today, we're gonna rest up the kiddos that didn't play much this last week. They're gonna get basically a mini boot camp the next couple of days, because we want them to feel empowered like we still need them, and we got to get our depth going. And what we learned this past week is just like, I really just think what he said, I'm going to talk to my team about that, is like, we just got to get our egos going again. Whatever we did this week that helped, we got to figure that out and talk to the kiddos about it, but we just had a better mindset, so we just want to keep that going. They're working hard, they're training. I have to be more patient with time to let things sink in. But, to be honest, I just like the way our kids were this weekend. And it wasn't because of who we played, it was because how we came out and how we did stuff. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know, I just need to be more patient with what we're doing, because it's working. But the kids' mindsets were better. And it makes a difference, man. You go out there with the right kind of mindset, you can do a lot of things.